Now, I heard her before.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Good. Okay, we were just trying to make sure the microphone and everything was working.
Yeah, I
So,
think I had it set so that everybody was on mute when they came in, just so there wasn't
oh,
people trying to talk.
oh, good. Yeah, no, great. Okay.
Morning, Tina.
Good morning.
I opened it so that you would be able to share. So,
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that greatly.
yeah, give it a few more minutes. We have 51 people signed up to be here. So,
Oh, wow, great turnout.
yeah, and it's
Nice.
pretty cold. So, I'm sure people are enjoying that they can Zoom from their office or wherever
Yeah,
they're at.
yeah, it's really handy. So,
It's just 9 o'clock now. We'll give it another minute or so. We have about 50 or so people signed up. So we'll give it just another minute and then we'll kick it off. Can everybody hear me all right? Whoops.
Mhm.
Not sure my screen went. There it goes. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jessie Sear, and I'm the Economic and Community Development Director here at KV-COG. Joel Greenwood is our Executive Director, and the entire KV-COG team would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day today to join us for this information. We all call this TIFs, but its full name is Maine Tax Increment Financing. We know that you are stretched thin, and as our budgets are too, so we appreciate you taking the time out of your schedules today. This session is intended to educate you about TIFs and give you an extra tool in your toolbox to assist your community in meeting its goals. I'd like to introduce and thank Tina Mullins, from Development Program Officer from the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, known as DECD, for being here today to discuss the Maine TIF program. She'll be giving an overview and explain how the program can be used as a tool to benefit your municipalities, the residents, businesses, and any potential businesses showing interest in becoming part of your community. We do have over 50 people here today joining us from all across Maine, and I'm sure people have lots of questions for Tina. So I'll ask that everyone hold them until the end and stay on mute so there's no distraction. Any specific questions pertaining to your community or a particular project should be directed to Tina via maybe email, and I'll share that information afterwards. That way we can be considerate of everyone's time. I'll provide Tina's contact information, the slides from today, and the recording for anybody that you'd like to share it with, and I'll send that out later this afternoon. Again, thanks for joining us today, and I'll turn it over to Tina.
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to go over some information, sort of points a couple things out from the website, and then definitely, within the time frame, we'll certainly try to address any questions. It would be definitely our pleasure. So anyway, so ultimately, I am with Department of Economic and Community Development with the state of Maine, or DECD. My position assists the DECD Commissioner in reviewing municipal tax increment financing, or like Jessie said, MTIF, applications for statutory compliance, address MTIF questions, along with stewarding the program. The MTIF program is an economic development tool designed to promote industrial, commercial, transit-oriented, or downtown development to increase or retain employment opportunities, and to broaden the tax base. The MTIF program permits a municipality to redirect all or a portion of property taxes associated with new development in a specifically identified geographic area referred to as a TIF district to expend on certain allowable private or public project cost. New development typically results in an increase in municipal valuation. With a higher valuation, a municipality pays a higher share of county taxes and receives a smaller share of funding from state aid to education and revenue sharing. However, by designating a TIF district, a municipality shelters the increase in municipal valuation that the new district development creates. The tax shelter mitigates the impacts the district's increased assessed property value would have on a municipality's share of state aid to education and municipal revenue sharing in its county tax assessment. The new value from the TIF district development is added to the municipality's total valuation at the end of the TIF district term. The decision to create a TIF district is solely within a municipality's discretion. A municipality may create or designate a TIF district to attract a developer or business's project to its municipality by agreeing to reimburse a portion of the paid property taxes associated with a new development via what is called a credit enhancement agreement or a CEA. Or a municipality may create a TIF district where known or planned new commercial, industrial development or redevelopment will occur. For example, a municipality may become aware of a business who plans to construct a manufacturing facility or an apartment complex. The business has not contacted the municipality for financial support. At the same time, a municipality may see that this is an opportunity to TIF this parcel of land in order to capture the property taxes associated with a new development, to reinvest more dollars into its community to promote economic development. The total area of a single district may not exceed 2% of the total acreage of a municipality, and at least 25% of the district's real property area must be considered blighted, in need of rehabilitation, redevelopment, or conservation, or suitable for commercial uses.
Tina, do you have the slides that you could put up?
I can. I'm not sort of following that right
Okay.
along.
Okay, that's fine.
But that's okay. What I can do, just a second, let me sort of share what's already been sent. Let me pull it up here. I'll share my screen. I'll try to share my screen. Here. Okay. So this is hopefully you'll be able to see that.
Awesome.
You see this? You see this here?
Yep.
Okay, very well. So that sort of addresses a lot of the things I'm discussing, sort of what are TIFs, where are TIFs, etc. So that's just a good visual. Oops, sorry. Okay. Are you just seeing that one piece of paper, hopefully?
We see a little one on the side.
Okay. Oh, that's strange. Okay. There we go. Hopefully that will. All right. All right.
Sorry for the interruption.
No. I appreciate that. Okay, so definitely, as I was mentioning, a municipality may become aware of a business is going to, construct a manufacturing facility or an apartment complex. But as I mentioned, the business, they may have their capital stack in order. Um, but the municipality may see that as an opportunity to create a TIF district to capture the new value that property taxes associate with a new value. To reinvest more dollars in its community or to promote economic development. So I did mention cannot exceed 2% of the, well, I'll just mention that again, it doesn't hurt. The total area of a single district may not exceed 2% of the total acreage of the municipality, and at least 25% of the TIF district's real property must be considered blighted, in need of rehabilitation, redevelopment, conservation, or suitable for commercial uses. The total area of all development districts within a municipality may not exceed 5% of the total municipal acreage, and the original assessed value of all TIF districts within a municipality may not exceed 5% of the total value of municipal taxable property. The timing to create a TIF district is another important aspect to consider. A municipality would want to designate a TIF district during the property tax year prior to the one when the new development valuation will be assessed. The municipal assessor certifies the taxable original assessed value of the district as of the March 31st of the property tax year preceding the year in which a district is designated by the municipal legislative body. And then each year after the designation of the TIF district, the municipal assessor certifies the amount by which the assessed value has increased or decreased from the original value. Another aspect of creating a TIF district is for the municipality to decide how much of the increased assessed value will be retained or captured to become what is referred to as TIF revenue. This can be any percentage up to and including 100% for the TIF district term. A municipality may choose to capture all of the increased assessed value during the whole term of the TIF district, or they can choose a staggered amount for the TIF district term, for example, 100% for the first 5 years, and then say 75% for the final TIF years. Again, that's completely up to the municipality's discretion how much they want to capture from the new value. Every TIF district must be accompanied by a development program accompanied by the municipal legislative body that includes certain statutory required items outlined under TIF statute and TIF rule, both available at the DECD website, which I'll point out here in a second just for ease of finding the information. Some required items that must be included, for example, is a description of the development to take place within the TIF district, the parcel or parcels that will be included in TIF district, a map showing the TIF, within the municipal boundaries, and whether a credit enhancement agreement will be offered. To include sort of a description of the reimbursement terms, just to name a few. One of the development program requirements is for the municipality to outline how the TIF revenues will be expended by identifying certain allowable project costs. Now, this is what I would like to sort of take some time out and point out. So I'm just going to go back. Now, are you seeing the screen that shows the website?
Yes.
Okay, very well. Okay, so ultimately, I'd like to point this out too. So our DECD website is the maine.gov/DECD/MTIF. And to find the MTIF information, you would just go under Bureau and Offices and under Community Development. And then when you click on there, on the right-hand side, you'll see Municipal Tax Increment Financing. And then you would just click on there. And here's some good information around regarding MTIFs. I'll point out a couple things in a minute. What I really would like to sort of address is the when a municipality captures these TIF revenues, sort of, what project costs can they consider and outline in a development program? How can they use these funds to reinvest in their community? The project costs under TIF statute are generally categorized in 3 areas. So I just want to point that out real quickly. So I'm just going to go to the project cost under TIF statute. So here are the list of project costs a municipality may consider to include in their development program. One of the categories, one of the categories are the allowable project costs that can be expended for the improvements within the TIF district. So this is A. That's the larger one category. What project costs are within the TIF district where TIF revenues can be used? I won't go over them, but I'll just point out a couple of them because a couple of them, they all may be valuable. But anyways, so some of them are costs of improvements made within a TIF district, such as capital improvements of construction of land or facilities. So a big one that we see about that is, say, if a manufacturing. They need some improvements to the roads in the TIF district or the sewer or the electric. So those are the capital costs of those infrastructure costs to sort of buff up that district to prepare it for that manufacturing facility. Those would be allowable project costs. You could use your TIF revenues. Another one is administrative cost for reasonable charges for time spent of municipal employees in connection with the program, the district program. That's really helpful, especially if a municipality doesn't have an economic development department or don't have, say, somebody to help administer this program. That helps them, maybe contract a contractor to help them with creating the TIF district. So anyways, those are the big couple ones I'd like to mention. So that's one category of project costs within the TIF district. Next big overall category is B right here. I just want to make my screen a little smaller here so I can see the words, but oh, word, sorry. Okay. My lordy Lou. Okay. Just a second, sorry. Okay. There we go. Okay. The next one is awesome improvements that are made outside the TIF district, but are directly related to or made necessary by the establishment or operation of the TIF district. So there's some items here that are listed, but ones that we see often is, say, if there's a road going into the manufacturer, it's not going, road right outside the manufacturer or the TIF district, and just say new lights need to be put in there, or new curving, or just the road needs to be upgraded to manage the new commercial development, then that is an allowable expenditure for TIF revenues. Another one is public safety improvements. Again, if the road, more signage is needed due to that TIF district. What's the other big thing I see? New lights. I don't know, eroding, some safety issues need to be addressed due to this TIF district, but it's outside the TIF district. Oh, sewer is another big one. The sewer needs to be upgraded to manage this new development, then TIF revenues can be used for that. So that's a big one that we see. And then the sort of third large category of how TIF revenues can be spent are for within the municipality. And there's a lot of project costs that really might be beneficial to use TIF revenues. Often the ones we see are for example, C, and the first one is costs of funding economic development program and events. So that's a really good one if the municipality, again, um, doesn't have an economic development department, then TIF revenues can be used to help pay for those wages for an economic development person. For marketing the municipality as a business location, TIF revenues can be used for marketing. For funding environmental improvements for commercial use or commercial activities, that's another big one. Some of the ones that sometimes may not be noticed is costs for childcare facilities and adult care facilities. TIF revenues can be used for that, which may be really beneficial. A couple that project costs have been recently added as of October 23rd, I think, of last year. Our TIF revenues can be used for up to 50% of capital cost related to the construction or renovation of a municipality's central administrative office. That could be really beneficial. And then for affordable housing, project costs have also been added for tissue, have been added to TIF statute. So anyways, I just wanted to point out the big, larger three categories of how project costs can be expended. Okay, so at any point during the TIF term, a municipality may amend its TIF district and or development program for various reasons. So say, for example, TIF district has been created with a couple parcels, and just say, 4 or 5 project costs have been identified for a period of 10 years. Well, at maybe the 7th year mark, the municipality is just like, geez, we really could benefit from adding project cost or adding another project to the TIF district. So then the TIF district and the development program can be amended. The amendment procedure is similar to creating a TIF district, in that the development program would be updated with the proposed changes. A 10-day notice public hearing would take place, with the municipal legislative body adopting the amendment prior to submitting it to the DECD commissioner for statutory compliance review and final approval. I'd like to just sort of mention some aspects of TIF revenue, the TIF revenue program is that TIFs can be created for transit-oriented or downtown TIF development. Each has certain additional requirements to be met under TIF statute. Both, the good thing about those is that both related acreage and original assessed values are excluded from the cap limits of acreage and OAV overall OAV. Typically, a TIF district can be up to and including 30 years for a term of up to 30 years. As of October 2024, for a 10-year period from that time, TIF districts may be extended an additional 20 years past a normal 30 years. If the TIF district uses at least 75% of the TIF revenues for affordable housing projects or transit-oriented development. So to recap, the MTIF program is a flexible financing tool used by municipalities to leverage new property taxes generated by specific projects or a project within a defined geographic area. Any portion of the new taxes may be used to finance public or private projects for a defined statutory allowable period of time. This program is locally driven. That is to say, the municipality defines a district size, determines the amount of new taxes to be captured, identifies allowable public and project cost, along with the term of the TIF district, with a whole proposal needing local political approval. Sort of have already gone to the DECD website, but I just wanted to point out sort of the general information that's here. So can everybody see the screen? Very well. Okay. So here's just an overview. The top part here is just an overview of TIF revenues. Here's my contact information. You're welcome to call, regarding any MTIF questions or email. We certainly try to respond in a timely manner. So under helpful links, here is the link for the TIF statute and the TIF rule. Both outline what a development program needs to include, all the requirements, and items like that. Then right here, the last bullet is sort of interest. This is sort of, I plan to update this within the next couple weeks, but it is a Excel spreadsheet that shows all the active TIFs in the state of Maine. What municipalities have one and how many they have and what name. I'd like to open it, just sort of peruse. Let's see if that's going to happen. Okay. Well, it might not happen, but okay. So ultimately, you can certainly open that Excel document.
It might be open at the bottom of your screen, Tina. Sometimes when you open a document like that, I'll throw it to the bottom, and your Excel spreadsheet will be kind of highlighted on the bottom of your screen.
Yeah.
I can try to open it on my side and share it.
Okay. That's strange. Okay. Oh, wait, add documents maybe. Yeah, isn't that strange? I can't seem to pull that up. But oh well, no. Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but it's okay. My lordy Lou. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I can't seem to pull that one up. Oh, just a sec.
Can anybody see it on mine?
I think you have to, yeah. That's strange. Okay. Anyways, we'll move on, but that document is, like I said, it just shows an inventory of the active municipal tax, active TIFs in the state of Maine. It should be, it is organized by alphabetical order. And it provides some information. I can't quite remember what's in there, but anyways, that's sort of helpful. It's sort of helpful because if a municipality is considering to create MTIF, but you have sort of some questions of how it might look like, instead of recreating the wheel, it's sometimes a good idea to look on that Excel spreadsheet and find a municipality that's sort of similar to your size, or a municipality that has a lot, and sort of touch base with them and sort of hear what their experiences are. Maybe some things that they hadn't considered that might be important. Like one thing I can think of off the bat is credit enhancement agreements. It's up to a municipality how much they would like to reimburse back to the developer if credit enhancement agreement is part of the TIF. But sometimes some municipalities sort of cap that. So they say, okay, well, we're going to offer the developer 50% back for a 10-year term. And they leave it like that, and that's wonderful. That's fine. But some municipalities say that we're going to reimburse 50% for 10 years, capped at a certain amount. And it just may be a good idea. It just sort of all depends what the situation is. But it's just things like that. Say if a person's new to this program, they may not consider or think of. So anyways, I just think that's a really good idea sometimes for a new municipality, sort of touch base with another one that's equal size, or one of the municipalities that have a lot of TIFs. For example, I can think of Herman off the bat. And they may, they just have experience that may be a good idea to sort of consider or share. So anyway, so it's good for that. So moving on to the next category here at our website, there is a municipal tax increment financing district development program fillable form. A municipality can use that or use it as a guide. Either one is fine. The whole purpose of the fillable form is just to make sure that all the things that need to be included in a development program, it is covered. The other thing is a checklist for MTIF district and development program for the fillable form, or even if a municipality sort of creates their own development program, it's good to take a look at that, because it just mentions, like, for example, a little cheat sheet on how to determine when like what March 31st for determining the TIF district's OAV. It sort of mentions, like, for the name of the TIF district, number one, to name the TIF district, and just some things to consider. For example, if it's a downtown TIF district, to say downtown TIF district with whatever the name of the TIF district is. Anyways, I just find that sort of helpful. Like, for example, if a municipality creates their own TIF district, there has to be a letter from a municipal, an authorized municipal employee, usually a town manager, or town administrator, saying that everything of the application is, they're certifying that everything's correct. Well, it's important to address that to the DECD commissioner. So just little things like that to note and to look out for. That's what the checklist is for. If it's a downtown TIF, then there's just a downtown redevelopment plan criteria checklist. It's just to be aware of some things a municipality should include in their downtown redevelopment plan. It's just a suggestion, a checklist, and just some other forms that are available here in case they're needed. And then if a municipality chooses to create their own development program and not use the fillable one, the additional relevant forms are just to go with that one that's needed to go with the application. And then the last item is the educational material, which you all probably have already. But it just provides an overview, which we've addressed today, and then just a slideshow, just sort of simplifying or mentioning some TIF terms. So that is all I have, but I would love to hear some questions. We have some time, but say any questions that anybody might want to ask about TIFs. I'm definitely here, and we might find value, all of us. So if anybody would like to sort of ask any questions you have that you were sort of hoping would be addressed, then we'll certainly try to address that.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, just unmute yourself and ask away. I'll ask, how cumbersome, this seems like a lot of work, and some of our municipalities, most of them are understaffed and wearing 5 hats. Is this a big reach to do this work?
Well, I would say when I first came to this position, it's a lot. It's a lot. But on the other hand, it's a choice to participate. There is a fillable form. A municipality can always touch base with a TIF consultant, but also their economic development department, could take a stab at it. I think that's tricky, and it's sort of an individual question. I mean, compared to other programs that are out in the stratosphere, it may be easier to participate, or it may be harder. But I think that's an individual. But it's
Yep. I know
yeah,
we have
sort of.
people from all over the state, and most of our municipalities have either a COG or a Economic Development Commission in your region that generally you work with. I know that for us at KV Cog and our partners at other COGs are more than willing to help you with this materials and get you enrolled and get a good project lined up. So you can always reach out to us or your COG or your EDC in the area. Tim, I think looks like
Yeah,
he's
so, yeah, sorry. And then also, we're here too. So any questions, you can call us. We'll help you out.
hit it, Tim.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for KV putting this on. Hey, here's the reality of TIFs, regardless of the size of your municipality. It's always worthwhile to have an attorney. Bernstein Shore, they're just one of many that provide these services. They have whole departments lined up to do TIFs. Now, here's the thing, it costs money, but if you have a business that is approaching you and says they want a TIF, then part of the deal is once you establish that TIF, that they pay for all of those legal fees. So I would say that the heavy lift can be done with the help of attorneys walking you through this. The more experienced towns that have bigger economic development departments, you can be able to create maybe 50% of it on your own. But I think it's always easier if you have an attorney that's kind of walking you through that process.
Yeah, we're by no means experts legally, but the application process, public hearings, we can help with all of that. I like Tim's suggestion and I hadn't heard somebody else say this before, so thanks, Tim, but reaching out to the interested party and putting the onus on them to pay for the legal fees for that. Chris over in Heartland.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am, what I'm trying to wrap my head around here a little bit is we have the definition about the 2% of the area not exceeding the total valuation, if I'm interpreting that correctly. The second part of that is 25% of the TIF district must be blighted. I didn't understand that whole definition on the tail end of that. Could you explain that in a little more detail, Tina, please?
So a TIF district cannot exceed 2%. The TIF district footprint cannot exceed 2% of the municipality's acreage. So that's one thing.
Thank you.
So that's that. And then the TIF district acreage and all the development program, all the other TIF districts, all of their acreage may not, added together, may not exceed 5% of the municipality's acreage. So that's that. And then only the MTIF districts, all the active ones within a municipality, all of their taxable assessed value may not exceed 5% of the total municipal taxable value. And then the 25%, a TIF district, it must meet minimally at least 25% of the TIF district must be considered either blight, in need of rehabilitation, redevelopment, or conservation, or suitable for commercial uses. So that's the, I guess, four sort of limits. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. And
Hey, good
there's,
morning,
oops, sorry.
everybody. It's Gabe Govin here, Central Maine Growth Council. Firstly, thank you to Jesse and the KVCog team, and to you, Tina, for putting on this great webinar this morning. Tim brought up the important aspect of credit enhancement agreements when you're actually engaging with a business for your TIF and not just doing it for the sake of the municipality sheltering value itself. Tina, I just was wondering if you or the state has any sort of aperture, opinion, or perspective on best practices for our small and medium-sized rural communities on how to kind of catch and process those business intakes, those private sector leads. Some communities have a TIF committee, an advisory committee, or a board on that public process side of engaging with the private sector. If there's any sort of opinions or best practices you've seen in your time. Thank you.
And please help me out. One more time, maybe perhaps how to reach out to businesses, maybe to,
Not so much on sorry, yeah, I'll try to
it's my
narrow.
fault.
But not so much on the lead intake or recruitment side, but more on the public process. If a community's never done a TIF before and their first engagement is doing one with the element of a credit enhancement agreement attached, and they're doing it alongside in support of a private investor or a business. Any sort of best practices the state considers or has seen for having a TIF committee in place or a TIF policy at the municipal level as far as having some sort of ordinance or policy to rely on?
Yeah, I think just from what I see from reviewing TIP applications, that's sort of really within a municipality's purview. If a municipality thinks they would want to have a sort of a TIF committee, then I think that's, whatever to sort of help with the process and help with brainstorming and help municipality feel comfortable, administrating a TIF district, however that comes. I think that's really up to a municipality's sort of purview and discretion whether they want to have a committee or not. Sometimes I get called, from a municipality and from the municipality's committee, and it's just good. It's just more people involved to sort of help iron out questions and concerns and address things.
If I could add to that, I highly recommend that every town have a TIF policy, something in writing that at the very least your select board can go by. If you develop a TIF committee, then you have a policy that you can go by. What tends to happen is the intent, I believe, of a TIF with a credit enhancement agreement is to draw economic development to your community. One of the things that can tend to happen is a commercial entity will come in and already establish a business or growth or development, and then they'll come to the town and ask for a tax break in the form of a TIF. And if you have a TIF policy, that's really helpful because it kind of protects you against getting caught in something that you're either not consistent or you're feeling pressured to give a break to one, and that can happen to frustrate other businesses that are in town and that sort of thing. When I was in the town of Madison, we had a TIF policy that was developed by Bill Van Tynen that very heavily focused on job creation. So if you were going to offer a credit enhancement, it was highly connected to job creation. That helped us when other people popped their hands up and say, hey, I want a TIF, but they're not really creating any jobs. So they could use that policy to kind of guide those decisions so they weren't pressured into doing something.
And Tim, your TIF was or policy stated that it was for new businesses coming in, not existing businesses that want to jump on.
I think it alluded to the fact that the desire is for new
Bring in
developments.
new.
Right. But, you know, for over the years, someone like Madison Paper, when they added on another arm of their business, so to speak, that was agreed to do a TIF with a credit enhancement. Backyard Farms is a good example of something completely from scratch. It was totally brand new. So when they came in, they entered into a 30-year TIF district with a 20-year credit enhancement agreement. So anytime that you're trying to work something out for the better of your community, it's always good to have something in writing, especially as boards change and managers change and new people come and go.
I was going to say that, Tim. Yeah, thank you. That's a good point of possibly considering creating one. Is that this sort of the next sort of people in line down the road, instead of starting from blank and starting to like research and you know, among all the other things that need to be learned, it's sort of nice to pick up a policy and at least have a start of like, oh, okay, like, you know, this is what we're going to go with now. We might not like it, we'll change it later, but right now we have this to go by. So that's a positive part of having, you know, a TIF committee or a TIF policy, like one of many. I'm saying. But it's not a requirement, and it's still up to a municipality whether they want to have one. But looking at the pros of having one, as Tim said, the many pros, and then another one is just having a place to start at when you're trying to learn a bazillion other things.
Okay. Well, not only that, like what Tim said, the turnover rate between select and town manager boards and selectmen and town managers, the turnover rate in our area particularly, I'm sure it's across the state, is pretty high. So having a document that guides the new person, and it's already set in rules, it's already been adopted, is a smart way to go, I think. Mr. Heartland? Chris?
Yes, so I have another question also. I'm wondering, we've talked about a credit enhancement agreement, but another term that I've come across is a community benefit agreement. And I'm wondering if anybody has any experience with a community benefit agreement. That my understanding is it probably is a subsection of the credit enhancement agreement. I'm just trying to educate myself a little more on that.
Did you say betterment agreement or benefit?
Benefit, I'm sorry, yes. Community benefit agreement.
So if I could touch on that, Chris, that's a good point. And again, this happens when developers who know the law better than we do come to us at town. And so there's a couple technicalities here. Community benefit agreements specifically are in state statute connected to wind tower projects. They are separate from TIFs. Somerset County has several wind tower projects in our unorganized territories that are subject to a TIF and a credit enhancement agreement. Separate from that, they have a community benefit program. That community benefit program says for a 10-year period, we're going to pay X amount of dollars based on the number of wind towers that we build. It is money that goes into a fund that can be used, just the way it sounds, for the benefit of the community, up to the discretion of the governing body of that community. In Somerset, that's the commissioners. In your towns, it's your council, your select board, or your town meeting. However, some developers will come in and say, we'd like a tax break, and they'll give you a couple of different options. They'll say, either give us a TIF, or we'll create a payment in lieu of taxes, something along the lines of an extra benefit for you. Sometimes this happens when development is being done by either a utility or a nonprofit or something like that. instead of paying taxes, they'll do something in lieu of community benefit. Solar projects, because of their nature, if they're under a certain size, they automatically qualify for, it's not Betty, but it's close to a Betty tax break. They will offer, we'll put X amount of dollars into a fund for you that you can use for community benefit. So there, and Tina, you can correct me, I don't think there's any language of community benefit programs in the TIF statute. I think it's a separate entity altogether that towns need to be aware of. That, again, that's why it's good to have some legal counsel.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. I think I misunderstood that. I had a discussion with the town's attorney, and the way the explanation came to me, I think I just interpreted that it was a portion of the credit enhancement agreement. And thank you for your explanation. It's helpful.
I just made myself a note here, and I know we mentioned a couple times, but I just want to mention that whenever a credit enhancement agreement is part of a TIF development program, it is the only legal binding document of a TIF district. So you definitely, absolutely, exclamation mark, would want to ensure your municipal attorney is involved. Absolutely. That's very important. I just want to ensure that I mention that. So.
Hi, I'm Clay in Moose River. I'm pretty new to this selectmen stuff. I just kind of wanted to run through just to make sure that I have the basics of how a TIF works in layman's terms. So for example, we have a dimensional lumber mill in our town, and it's under a TIF agreement. So basically, it's the geographical area, however many parcels that is, of Moose River lumber that we have locked in a certain property tax rate for 30 years, more or less. Is that right so far?
The original assessed value is locked in.
Okay.
And then the property tax bill to the business will look like the same, whether there's a TIF district or not. It looks the same, but what happens is behind the scenes is when the increased valuation that's changed into property taxes, that's what, right, and whatever is outlined in development program that will be captured, that's the amount that's put into a separate bank account for the allowable project cost or credit enhancement agreement.
Okay. And so then those are the funds that we would be able to spend on things inside the TIF or around the TIF, as long as it would support the terms of the TIF with, the mill in our example, right?
Right, or the third category, any project costs that were outlined in development program for within the municipality, for example, economic development events or programs, childcare, the new one, up to 50% of TIF revenues, up to 50% of the capital cost of construction or renovation of a municipal administrative office, if that's in a development program. That's a new one. So it's probably not included in a lot of TIF development programs yet. It's included in some, the newer ones, or the ones that have been recently amended. But yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the advantage to the person inside the TIF is that their property valuations kind of stay still more, so it gives them a sort of tax break. And then the benefit to us was what again? I'm sorry, we pay a lower county tax rate. It's just so much information all at once. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's okay. It's okay. So the benefit of a TIF district is typically when property taxes are paid, typically they go into three different silos. But what a TIF district does is that the property taxes associated with that new development is not put in those silos.
It's in a fourth silo, right?
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. It's put in a different bank account, which is a term, development program fund. It's put in a different bucket to be used for certain allowable project costs.
Almost like ministerial or something in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You can only spend that on the school, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean,
right? Am I right there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He's smiling. But
So again, to the Moose River question, you should have some documents in a file
we
somewhere.
do. I've inherited it. It's just
Yep.
I'm trying to educate myself on it, and ours should be coming up to term very soon. So, it's anticipated that they're going to come renegotiate with us or ask to do so. So we're trying to preempt
Yep.
some education here before that happens. So
That's actually was going to be my question if you're done.
yeah, that's fine. Sorry, go ahead,
So
guys.
Tina, can you talk about what municipalities' options are as the TIF runs to the end? Renewing it, extending it, putting a latch on it and starting over again. Can you hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's Lord, it'd be so much, but you're right. And I do appreciate that question. I understanding sometimes time constraints and the number of employees, just ideally, throughout the TIF district, it's good to sort of check in to see, are these project costs working for us? Do we want to say some municipalities are only or TIF districts are only 10 years. So when it gets close to the 10 years, at one point, anytime throughout it, if the project costs aren't working for a municipality, or it's really working, development's good, then a municipality sort of should be reviewing it to see, should we make any changes, should we extend it? So that's one thing. And when it gets close to the end of the term, so definitely if it's up to 30 years, now with that law change that you can extend your TIF for up to 50 years if you designate 75% of your TIF revenues for transit-oriented development or affordable housing. That's another thing to consider. But just say a municipality just wants to sort of terminate the TIF at 30 years. Now TIF statute allows a municipality an additional 3 years, not to capture any more value, but to expend those TIF revenues that are remaining in the separate account. It allows 3 additional years to expend those TIF revenues on the allowable project cost in the development program. So that brings another good point, is that when it's getting close to the end of the TIF district, I know it can be tricky, but anyways, objectively, it would be wonderful for a municipality sort of a year or two out to review the project cost to see if they should be amending them, to add any or to remove to make it easier, but add any to spend the remaining TIF funds in the development program account if there are any. So that's really important, and that's a new law change for a municipality to have those additional 3 years, again, just to expend the TIF revenues, not to capture.
If I could add something here, and I apologize, you can mute me if you want, Jesse. But I think what Tina is talking about is very important because of the law changes, and it's always good to review what you're spending, the town is spending their TIF dollars on. The other side of that is within that TIF, if there's a credit enhancement agreement with Backyard Farms or Moose River Lumber or somebody like that, that credit enhancement agreement may be shorter than the entire TIF. Backyard Farms, for an example, is a 30-year TIF, but the credit enhancement agreement, which means that's when you give them their tax dollars back, that's only 20 years long. And so that ends for Madison in 2026. So those conversations need to be happening right now between the town office and the business, because that business may not know, because people have changed. They may not know that that credit enhancement agreement is coming to an end. When you charge them the full tax amount in 2027 and they say, where's our 50% back? And you say, well, your credit enhancement agreement is over. You got to have that conversation ahead of time, not at the end. Down in Hallowell, I think the ice rink there, they had a 10-year credit enhancement agreement, and it was in the newspaper a few years ago when Gary Lamb was there to extend that credit enhancement agreement another 10 years. That's the most likely thing to expect as a town is you've been giving this tax break for 20 years. You need to expect that that taxpayer is going to come to you at the end of that credit enhancement agreement and ask for an extension. The other thing is you need to do they're probably going to ask for a complete revaluation of their business because you've been giving them a tax break based on evaluation. They have no reason to ask for a revaluation because they're getting their money back. But now, as you come to the end of that CEA, there's a lot of things the town needs to consider. Is this business still worth this much? Are we going to extend this tax break? Because that's the other part of the coming to the end of the TIF that the municipality needs to be proactive about. Sorry for yelling. So
You're not yelling.
No,
If-
that was great. Thank you.
If a TIF is coming to its end, and the the business that it was covering has done the improvements that were required of it, to keep the TIF going, and nothing else, but the TIF is coming to an end. Is there any reason why you would want to extend it and not let it die out and then maybe
Well, that's-
reestablish a new one? Because
I wonder
valuation, yeah, so the valuation of it 10, 20, 30 years ago, whenever it started, is very different than it is now. So can you talk a little bit about the benefit of killing it and starting a new one or not doing anything? Moose River, you seemed like you had another portion of that question you might want to kick in on.
No, I mean, that pretty much sums up my question now. They have recently asked us for a reval, and I was left sort of scratching my head as to why, because they were in the TIF agreement already, and I didn't understand it. Like, it's only going to go up, guys. So that makes sense now that, but no, I would like to explore what the best option for Moose River would be. If it's a struggling mill, you still want to give it a break if you can. You don't want to lay into them too hard. But then on the other hand, if you're a struggling municipality and it's your biggest taxpayer, in a sense, you kind of have to strike the balance. So I was hoping to hear from the peanut gallery, like, what, if there's any other experiences or any good ideas you guys may have.
By peanut gallery, did you mean Tim? Because I think he probably can answer that.
Yes, and I'm very much enjoying it. Thank you very much.
I'm the main nut here. So in case anybody doesn't know, I was a town manager in Madison for 8 years. Hi, Sally, I see you over there. And I'm currently the county administrator for Somerset County. If you're a Somerset County town and you've got questions about TIFs, I don't know everything, but I learned a lot from Bill Van Tynen. I've learned a lot from Tina at DECD. I've learned a lot by going through several of them. Please feel free to reach out to me. I can help you from the municipal perspective, what you need to look out for. To the question about what to do if a taxpayer comes back and says, I want to extend it, this is a good time to dig out your TIF policy. Have they met the expectations that you put into your TIF policy about job creation, about doing something to enhance the community? If they have met those things and they're telling you that they're going to hire even more people if they get this little break extended a little bit longer, then maybe that's something to consider. But if they haven't reinvested much into the property, if their numbers of their employees have actually gone down over the last 20 years, maybe that's a conversation you have with them and your select board and say, is this something we really want to do?
Thank you, Tim. That was great.
Anybody else have any questions? I'm gonna send, again, I'll send the recording of today and also the handouts. I sent it out yesterday, but I'll send them again today with the recording and Tina's contact information. And as Tim said, if you're in Somerset County, he's happy to help out. And I'm sure your administrators of whatever counties you're in would do the same. Reach out to your COGs, reach out to your economic development agencies. We're lucky to have Central Maine Growth Council in our backyard as a partner too. So just reach out. And thanks again to Tina. Anybody else have any last chance? No? Well, thank you so much, Tina. And thanks everyone for being here. This was great.
My pleasure. And definitely please give me a call with any questions or email. We're here to help. Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, everyone.